Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. BlueDragonFive here with another award-winning installment of Disney Debates. Inspired by the recent Academy Awards, tonight's dais boasts the following. Best voice performance in a Disney film, which Disney pair would make the best road movie, and best 90s Disney film. Alright, folks, time to grab your Oscar screeners and find your seats because it's time to raise the arena in this corner. Disney Debates heavyweight and the Polynesian park hopper himself, Tiki!
Hey, mamma mia, you're breaking my balls here. You're breaking my balls.
And in the opposing corner, a man who's gone the distance and has Disney down to a pastry science. It's waiter, there's pie on my cake!
Let's go!
And tallying the votes by my side, Jacob Wile and SandyClaws.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, we're the only non-Italians here.
And I'm the only one without a nickname.
That's true. That's very true. One of these things is not like the other.
It's too late to change that now.
Well, you're on the sidelines,
Well, I mean, Jacob might not be your real name. Who knows?
Anyway. So, folks, how are we doing tonight?
Dragon, I'm very excited, especially because this is honestly, I'm sort of giddy about this. This is honestly new territory for Disney Debates because we got the 3 judges, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I'm legitimately excited. I feel like a little kid.
Yeah.
This is
gonna be fun.
This is like the Disney Debates that I always envisioned in my head.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, we're marching into bold new territory here tonight, folks. I mean, it could be great, or it could end up like a girl we're fighting, then disaster. Disaster could strike. You don't know.
I like that pool, Dragon. That's a good pool.
And very relative pool given one of our questions tonight, but we'll get there when we get there. Let me check in with the crowd a little bit. Let me give some shout outs right off the top to kind of pump up the crowd, because we had Donovan Martin in the comments. Always nice to see him. We got Twilight Zone. Howdy.
Hey there, Twilight. Hey there, Donovan. Nice to see you. Thanks for
Pixie Grump.
Yeah, we got Pixie Grump, who I believe was checked in with us last debate. So welcome back to all.
Hey there.
And the door is open for anyone who wants to kind of find their seats as the proceedings are going on. So by all means.
And
all right, so guys, what we're going to do really quick is we're going to quickly go over the rules and everything.
And I'll be monitoring the chat room.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Jacob.
Welcome.
And then, after we go over the rules, we're going to jump right into the questions. And importantly, for the people watching along, even though it is going to be like a best 2 out of 3 judging system, I want the judges themselves to take the chat into account if they're kind of teetering one way or another.
Sure.
I'm going to pull up a chat quick myself.
Okay, so refresher then, right?
Yeah, refresher. Let's
okay,
for anyone kind of coming in, just randomly hey, Disney Debates, that sounds fun, but I've never heard of it. What does it entail?
All right. Okay, folks, I'm going to keep it simple. Here's how it's going to work tonight. So, of course, as always, we've got 3 rounds. 3 rounds, 3 questions. The way we kind of lay it out is we're going to go back and forth, establish who has what, and then they're going to reveal they're going to have their opening statement. They're going to kind of make all their points, like what's great about, why they picked it, that sort of stuff. Just kind of say all the gleaming things about their choice. Then it's a fight to the finish. It's a fight to the finish. It's going to run wild. They're going to make outrageous claims. There are going to be points that are going to be defended till the very bitter end. It's going to be extraordinary. You never know. And at the end of 3 rounds, we break out our optional feature, the coin. Bum bum bum. The coin made of Oscar gold, if you will.
Well, I was going to call it the Academy coin.
Oh, sure, fine. The Academy coin.
The Academy coin.
I'd like to thank the Academy, but not the coin because it made me lose. No, in all seriousness, here's how the coin works, folks. So the Academy coin in this case, give them a little fancy name there, a little kind of little pop and sparkle, if you will. The Academy coin, basically means it's up to the toss. If it lands heads, the toss. If it lands heads, you can gain a point. If it lands tails, you lose a point. You risk or gain that, again, should you choose. You don't have to use the coin, but it's an option. At the end of 3 rounds, we will offer it to both of our contestants here. They'll be able to do that if they wish, if they want to risk it, or if they want to play it safe and not do it at all. Pretty simple.
I'm glad that heads came up after 3 tails. That was starting to bother me.
Any coins theorists or strategists in the audience now can keep track of, like, oh boy, I'm placing my bets now. Who's gonna get it?
All right.
Of course, soon we get to the speed round, and let's just say there's some prizes. There are some surprises in store in the speed round, as well as the as well as just kind of this new system we're trying.
Then we get.
I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything. Speed round.
Right, sorry. Anyway, so he had some surprises in store, and of course, we're testing a new system tonight, which is the three judges systems. Of course, we have to, of course, once you hear my little bell buddy here, R2, ease the bell, which means we've heard enough. Then the 3 judges will deliberate. We'll each kind of cast our stone on the winning pile, as it were, and we will. We'll decide who wins the round.
Blame our stones for the contestants' heads.
Yep. Okay, that about does it. Tiki, am I forgetting anything?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so gentlemen, do you understand these rules as I've explained them to you here this fine evening?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And we're up to 8 people now.
All right, we got verbal confirmation. We got 9 people.
Wow.
This is going to go great.
And shout out to D. Hindley, who just joined us.
Nice, D. Hindley. I met him at Knott's Berry Farm. I spent like an hour and a half with him. That was cool. Cool. Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Let's randomize. Let's first.
Of course, names in alphabetical order for complete randomization. Of course, kind of doing it Vegas style, as it were.
All right.
Tonight's order is, well, it's pretty much the same then. Okay, so Pi's going first.
Well, that was very very productive, man. I feel like we achieved a lot through that process.
All right. Let's brave the terrain and head straight into round numero uno. What say you, gentlemen? You ready to venture in the bold, unfettered territory?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Okay, round number 1. What is I'm going to give you like the full question, kind of the gravitas of it here, to be very specific. What is the single best voice performance in a Disney film? So to preface this, folks, I posed to these 2 gentlemen. It's all on the table. You got to give me a performance, an isolated piece, a specific performance, as in like where I'm looking like like the film itself. Again, like the Academy under review here, looking at this one performance and deciding if it's well, let's just say for the sake of our theme here, Oscar worthy or.
I hope do you guys recognize the statue in the middle?
Yes, it's the Annie Awards, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I love what the Annie Awards did. They modeled after a Zoetrope. It's so cool to me. It rocks. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that said, again, single best voice performance in a Disney film. What did you pick?
I picked Ellen DeGeneres as Dory in Finding Dory.
Yes. So remember that, folks. Finding Dory. Very specific.
Oh,
Okay.
I've never seen that movie. Is that gonna? But I know what she sounds like as the character. Is that gonna?
Arguments, Sandy. It's all about the arguments.
Yes.
Okay, Tiki, what do you have?
I have Tony J as Judge Claude Frollo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Very excellent matchup.
I remember when there was a time when we weren't allowed to use Frollo at all.
Yes.
Ah, yes, the great Frollo ban of 2015. No, it wasn't even going back that far. But, the great Frollo band.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, opening statements. Pi, fire away.
So what makes Finding Dory work when Monsters University and Cars 2 didn't work as not really as much is that those movies, like Finding Dory, focused on who was the comic relief character. But Billy Crystal and Larry the Cable Guy couldn't carry that role. They weren't versatile enough. Yet Finding Dory is such a good showcase that Ellen DeGeneres was able to not just be a fun side character, but evolve that character to be the emotional core of the movie. And she really does carry this movie, which doesn't even have as good a writing as a lot of other Pixar movies, but her performance brings so much life and so much humanity to the character, as well as to the portrayal of the mental illness, the short-term memory loss. Does such a good job, definitely in the same line, playing it for laughs and playing it for drama, and showing how it can be a very sad thing and how he can still be strong despite it. And the whole quest, all of it hinges on her performance, making the character come alive and be so much more than just a comic relief character that could have been. The movie is better because of her and because of all the many hats she's able to wear in it.
Okay. Tiki.
All right, so if you search on YouTube for Frollo, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the first thing that comes up is a 13-minute video that's just called Frollo. And that video consists of literally all of Tony Jay's performance. Nothing else. Just Tony Jay's performance along with the animation that it is. And it is compelling as hell. What you see in those 13 minutes, keep in mind, this guy has 13 minutes worth of screen time in the whole movie. I want to emphasize that. What you see is a man who goes from someone who's really cold and really heartless to someone who gains a sense of humanity in the most twisted and perverse of ways with his love of Esmeralda and his trying to be like kind of this wayward father figure to Quasimodo at the same point. And Frollo is like the most complex Disney villain of all time, but also the most menacing and the most scary. And I just like, I feel like he is just, Tony Jay's performance is just, it's legendary. I mean, he sings Hellfire in just the most vicious, operatic, menacing style you could possibly imagine. It's all him. Like I said, the character doesn't really even have that much screen time, but he looms over the movie. He casts a huge shadow over the movie, and even though his whole screen time put together is only 13 minutes, you watch that 13 minutes put together without any of the rest of the movie, and you see exactly the arc of the man. You see him kind of coming and going and just grappling with his mortality and grappling with all his moral choices and wanting to be a great man, wanting to be a powerful man, but having to embrace the sin that comes with that. And for a Disney movie, that is just compelling stuff, man. It is just amazing work. And there's a reason why Frollo is one of the best Disney villains of all time. There is a reason why Hellfire is consistently ranked as one of the best Disney villain songs ever. It's Tony Jay. Tony Jay brings everything. All right.
Okay.
Can I just point out that he technically has 2 more minutes than Hannibal Lecter does in Silence of the Lambs? Technically, Hannibal Lecter only has like 11 minutes of screen time in that movie, and he doesn't do that much.
There's only about 15 minutes worth of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
That's really interesting, actually.
I think it might be doing some damage. Just point at all the screen time and all sorts of other things I have to get. I wouldn't go further with that.
It's you have 15 minutes or whatever, but it's all about how you use that 15 minutes or 13 minutes or 11 minutes. It's all about how you use it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, fight to the finish.
Kill each other.
Frollo's great. No one's gonna argue that Frollo isn't great, but he only has to fill the one role in the movie. And while he fills it well and does have an arc, he only has to fill one role. Whereas with Ellen DeGeneres, the performance has to be versatile and multifaceted enough that he has to serve as the straight man against the more wacky characters like the beluga whale. She has to serve as the comic relief against the more serious characters like Merlin. And she has to serve as the emotional core with the story of her coming to grips with her past and trying to find her parents. It all hinges on her being able to react in all these different situations with all these different characters while bringing life to the role.
I mean, I'm not going to say that Ellen DeGeneres doesn't do a fine job with this movie. She does. I'm not going to mince words here. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, and it sounds to me, Pi, like you aren't really either. But to me, my whole point with my argument is that Frollo just has such an operatic, just iconic quality to him. Whereas Dory, she's building off of something that she did before with Finding Nemo, and yes, she's doing it well. And yes, she is adding dimension and layers to her character. That's all very well and good. That's fine. But Tony J had to craft something out of nothing, man. Like, Tony J just had to go in there, and what he delivered in that recording booth is just straight up one of the most menacing, one of the most controversial, one of the most thought-provoking dialogues of any villain in any animated film ever. You just hear his voice, and he just, like, he's right up there with, with an iconic voice like Vincent Price or George C. Scott. Some of the big iconic players.
But how much is his performance, and how much of that is the fact that it's a really well-written movie? Whereas Finding Dory, he's able to get so much emotion and heart from a movie that's not one of the best written.
I mean, I think it's all his performance. I think that it could have easily been done. Like, look at what they're doing with Jafar. Look how much a voice can influence how we feel about a character now. Like, that's a perfect example. I feel like the voice is everything. If Frollo didn't have the right voice, I mean, look at Frollo. Look at him. He looks ridiculous with that purple cap and the black robes and everything. He could have very easily been a ridiculous, over-the-top character. Frollo could have very easily been a freaking oh god, what's his name? The freaking villain from Pocahontas.
Ratcliffe.
Yeah, he could have been. Thank you, Jacob. He could have very easily been a Ratcliffe, like over the top, kind of like, kind of very, very, very over the top character. But Tony J not only gives it a menace, he not only gives it a huge menace that you can just instantly recognize. He also just dives deep into the humanity of this character, and it's just compelling. And like I said with Ellen DeGeneres, I feel like my problem with Ellen DeGeneres, I feel like a lot of it comes down to a lot of the emotion and a lot of that movie, honestly, is as much the performance as it is the editing in a lot of ways, like the way that the editing plays with the memories. And that's one of the things I kind of noticed about when I was doing my research with Finding Dory. It was a good performance, don't get me wrong, but I feel like while Tony J's performance is iconic all the way through, I feel like with Finding Dory, a lot of the times Ellen DeGeneres is kind of just going along doing the same stuff, and then we get to certain scenes, we get to standout scenes, Pi. I'm absolutely not going to give you any credit. I'm not going to dismiss you at all for the scene where she reunites with her parents. Pi, just so we're on the same wavelength here. God damn, that's a fantastic scene, and that breaks my heart. It really does. But that's the thing. It's only one scene. I mean, and I know there's other parts of the movie where Dory is in an emotionally vulnerable place. But I'm just saying, throughout the whole film, Tony J he sticks to a performance, he sticks to a vibe, and he just runs with it, and it just ramps up and ramps up and ramps up as the movie goes on, and you can just see that evolution in that 13-minute clip. And like I said, I don't mean to be putting so much emphasis on the 13-minute clip, but I'm just saying it's just like the way that it just stands on its own. It really stands on its own. It's an arc unto itself. Literally, without hearing any other character's piece of dialogue, you get what this guy is going for. You get his struggle. You get his emotional dilemma. It is like some of the most brilliant and thought-provoking and haunting 13 minutes, any freaking voiceover in any dialogue booth, period.
Frollo is impressive. And Frollo does something a lot of Disney villains aren't able to do. But at the end of the day, Hunchback, and especially Frollo, is, as you said, very operatic, very over the top. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that while it does take a definite talent, it's an easier thing to do. Whereas with Finding Dory, yeah, a lot of the movies she's just kind of doing her own thing. But what's noticeable there is that it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel like every line has to be a joke. She brings a humanity to a character who was conceived years earlier as just being essentially a one-note joke with like 1 or 2 lines to try and make her feel more real. But in this movie, she comes to life and does such a good subtle performance, making Dory feel like a real person, like a real personality there. It's subtle, and it weaves together the more comedic and silly moments with the more dramatic moments in a seamless fashion without having to be all operatic and over the top. And you compare how a different voice actor could have made Frollo into Ratcliffe or whatever his name is, but a different voice actor could have turned Dory into Mater in Cars 2 or any other, or could have turned her into Olaf. I mean, you don't see the people who usually get cast as the funny side comic relief character with one main gag be able to carry something like this. It's a unique talent to be able to humanize that role and bring so much depth to it.
You know why those people didn't get cast as Dory? Why we didn't end up with a performance like that?
Why?
Because Ellen DeGeneres is Dory, and she so much lives and breathes that character that honestly I find it a little bit predictable. Don't get me wrong, she does great at it. She has passion for it. But at the end of the day, I feel like Ellen DeGeneres is just so much the Dory character, like just in her, in her persona, in her day-to-day persona, that it's just, to me, it's like almost nothing new. Like the emotional scenes are great, but honestly, it's the emotional scenes make up about 5 to 6 minutes of the whole movie for me when I was researching it. Like a lot of it is just kind of like fluff. A lot of it is just kind of Dory going along and just, I don't necessarily think she adds that much to the whales, for example, because I think the whales are kind of forgettable characters that don't really get elevated. At least that's my opinion. She has some good stuff with Hank, I'll give you that. But like I said, I just think with Tony J, I don't know. I feel like there is nobody who could have done this better, especially because when you look at it, a lot of Disney villains, I feel like with Hellfire, that is an opportunity where Tony J, who is a trained opera singer, who is a trained, like Broadway superstar, to be able to belt out Hellfire like that set the stage, man. Like that was the start of something. That was stepping stones to getting, let's say, Idina Menzel to sing Let It Go. It was just like, it was one of those moments in animation history where two mediums, the stage and the screen, kind of came together in just this epic way to deliver this one moment, this one singular moment that just stands above so much else in animation. This one moment that's just completely iconic and just towering above a lot of other songs in the Disney catalog. And you wouldn't have been able to get that without a singer and a vocal talent like Tony J, who's literally a legend in the theater industry.
I can't argue that Hellfire.
All right, guys, we're done. Okay. All right. I guess I'll start the voting process, and we'll go to Jacob and Stan. I'm going to keep it brief. I'm going with. I'm casting my vote for Tiki. I'm voting for Frollo. I think Pi started off tremendously, but Tiki won me over specifically with the kind of the point that Ellen DeGeneres is so kind of linked in with that character. A lot of it is kind of on her being kind of Dory almost in real life, and there there are other components, and I think that coupled with the fact that I think Pi could have been more specific with his examples. He didn't quite live in the performance. I think he was kind of saying how she helped the movie, but not going into enough detail. So my vote's for Tiki. So Tiki gets Tiki's my vote. Jacob.
Before I delve into my point, I was like, I think the one I would choose was Ed Asner as Carl Fredricksen. Personally,
That would be a good one.
That
would
is a
be
great pick.
for sure.
You're behind that pick. That's a good one.
I mean, that's the one I would definitely go with. But I had to agree that I had to cast my vote for Tiki as well. I mean, especially the whole Broadway argument. Like, I mean, a lot of these films were conceived as like animated Broadway musicals, and the synergy that Tony J brought, like raised an excellent point into the performance as well. Having classically trained Broadway actors definitely helped with that.
All right, Sandy.
I'm gonna have to go with Frollo because I just looking back on that character and then my knowledge of it, Jiggy brought up a really good point. The character does look really, really goofy in all his robes and everything he's wearing, and there could have been a very easy character to get wrong on so many levels. And the fact that that Tony J just carries this character into all of his performance through the entire movie, and how the character evolves. I'm glad how Tiki touched on that and how he brings his performance of the character into all of his singing roles in the film. It really makes an impact, and I had forgotten about how strong that really was in that movie.
All right, real quick. Okay, so that's Tiki. Votes for Tiki around the board, which means Tiki wins the first point. Hooray!
Well done. Well done.
All right.
Thanks.
Really great.
Don't get cocky though, Tiki, because you leaned on that 13 minutes way too much. I'm just gonna deflate your balloon a little. Okay, just be careful of that.
No, I know. I kind of realized that as I mentioned it for a third time.
I also wanted to read out some stuff I got in the comments, unless you want to do it, Jacob.
Like, yes, like I went to the comments and asked them what they would choose as their best performance. Like, Pixie Grump voted for Scar.
That's a solid one, sure.
Yeah.
And also Pixie Grump also said Maleficent would be a close second. Donovan Martin agreed with Tiki with Frollo about embracing sin for all that human beings are imperfect and all that. The Twilight Zone with Billy Barty as Figment.
Ooh.
I don't think that would have counted because
it wouldn't. We're going for kind of like feature, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, but that's a good pool though. That's a good pool. Yeah. That's a very good performance.
And also, Donovan goes on to cite that Frollo was a huge risk, but it paid off more than Dory. As much as Donovan agrees that he loved Dory, but again, risk outweighs safe. That was kind of Donovan's logic there. So sound logic. It's nothing wrong there.
All right.
Okay.
Question.
Great.
And of course, in the comments, I also did point out my pick of Carl Fredricksen.
Yeah. Okay. Round 2. Which two Disney characters would make the best pair for a road movie in honor of Green Book winning the Academy Award this year?
Enjoy my badly shot thumbnails, everybody.
I don't know what you're talking about. I still think they look kind of fun, but that's just me, I guess. All right, so Pi, who's your lucky pair?
I'm going with Mr. Incredible and Cusco.
Mr. I and Cusco. Iggy.
All right, I'm very excited to announce the 2020 Oscar winner for Best Picture. It stars Prince John and Flynn Rider in a little dramatic buddy road trip movie called King's Book.
Oh God. all right. Pi.
Can I just point out that both Cusco and Mr. Incredible both have famous one-liners that both include baby in them?
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, baby. Right, of course, yeah.
And Boom Baby, of course, yeah.
For a moment, I was thinking of Showtime. I was saying, wait, what's the correlation with Showtime and Boom Baby? But like, yeah, baby. But yeah, you're right. Okay.
You're breaking my balls.
All right. Okay, so Pi, hit us with your opening statement.
Well, what makes any good buddy road trip movie is the contrast between the two characters, as well as what they have in common. And the contrast here is obvious. Where Mr. Incredible, while he has fun moments, is more of a straight-laced character, trying to help people out and going through almost like a midlife crisis through a lot of his journey, and trying to be more serious and help people a lot of times. Whereas Cusco, at least for most of the movie, is a lot more reckless and young and youthful and exuberant and goofy and self-absorbed, so they can learn from each other. Whereas Mr. Incredible can help Mr. Incredible can help Cusco learn to be more responsible and thinking of others and try and help each other. And Cusco can help Mr. Incredible learn to relax more and be more in touch with being like kid-friendly and youthful and all that, with the contrast coming at him being setting this more in an Incredibles type universe, Cusco being into fidget spinners and Fortnite YouTubers, and Mr. Incredible just not getting that and trying to have the clash of generations there, as well as the clash of personality types. And then they grow together and find what they have in common. Plus, they could be having Cusco dragged along on a road trip with Mr. Incredible trying to protect him from some supervillain chasing him down, and Cusco just having absolutely zero awareness that his life's in danger and that this should be taken seriously.
Okay, very interesting. Anything else?
No?
I just want to make sure, because it sounded like you might have been on the process of going on. I cut you off. Okay, we're all good. Tiki, opening statement.
So King's Book is going to be done in the style of the Jesus Christ Superstar movie from 1973, in which we have, like, literally, it's like people out in the desert that are, it's like people in the 70s, right? Like people in the 70s, but they're in medieval garb. It's basically the whole thing is told in this weird sort of like, it's like a medieval fair, right? But it's in the 70s. It's in the 70s. So it's period piece within a period piece, like, and so basically what we have is we have characters really committed to the roles in a giant medieval fair that spans the whole road trip. It's an artistic movie. It's an artistic film. So Prince John is a he's like the royalty, like the next in line to the throne that everyone hates. Like, everyone hates Prince John. No one likes him. He's a loser. You know, he just, frankly, he's bad with the ladies. He's just outright just an all-and-out kind of unsure guy. But he gets his chance. He gets his chance in life. He gets his chance to really prove that he can live up to the throne by apprehending Flynn Rider, the legendary Flynn Rider, the lady killer Flynn Rider, the man of basically the superstar of this whole thing, if we're equating it to Jesus Christ Superstar. Everyone loves Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider is like the talk of the town, but he's also, of course, a thief. He's a criminal, and he's got a record. He's got a wanted poster on him. And Prince John is like, wait a minute, I'm authority. I need to take you in. And so basically what we have is Prince John and Flynn Rider are going in a hippie van through this 1970s medieval fair setting, and Flynn Rider is teaching Prince John about love and life, and it's just glorious because Flynn Rider knows his thing, right? Flynn Rider is basically everything that Prince John isn't. He's good with the ladies, he's cocksure, he's confident, he's incredibly likable. Prince John is none of those things, and he's going to learn from Flynn Rider. He's going to grow from Flynn Rider. And at the end of the day, they're going to become best buds, and they're going to invite each other over for Thanksgiving dinner, and we're all going to wonder what the hell this 70s medieval Renaissance fair plot device is about. You know what it's about? It's about winning Best Picture because we can't just recycle Green Book. We need to do something different with it. And my God, that artistry is a freaking choice, man. It's a choice that makes the Robin Hood characters actually make sense in a live-action setting. I'm done.
Okay. So, let's try to kill each other. Guys, just kill each other with words. I mean, just go for the, just go for the
Going fidget spinners. No, you automatically deserve to win because of that. You automatically deserve to lose because of that.
Are you sure? Because you had it the other way just a few seconds ago. I just want to make sure.
You automatically deserve to lose because of the fidget spinners.
Are you saying that if Cusco was in the 21st century,
crazy artistic? All right, you're just gonna
Cusco
be like,
would have an Instagram page.
Like they're driving a van through this Renaissance fair, and they're getting high, and they're banging chicks, and it's just, man, it'd just be like a trip of a movie. It'd just be like a fantastic sort of like almost like a Midnight Cowboy type of experience.
See, I think that you're missing a key part of the Flynn Rider's personality and what makes him work as a character. He's not good at all that stuff. Every single time we see him in the movie, it's showing him try these things and telling people he can do these things, and it never once works the entire movie. The thug see right through it. Rapunzel sees right through it. The horse sees right through it. He's all talk,
John is going to see
walk.
right through it because that's the plot twist in the movie, Pi. Thank you for pointing that out to me. You led right into my trap, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Prince John is going
But if that's the contrast between the two characters that drives the emotional drama and what
Prince John realizes that Flynn Rider is not unlike himself, that much like Prince John, Flynn Rider is meek. He is pathetic. But the one thing that Flynn Rider has an advantage in is how he presents himself. And that's exactly the thing that Prince John is going to learn from. And also, can I bring up the King's Book? Like the actual King's Book and how it'll function in the movie?
Sure.
Sure.
So the King's Book is a list of rules that Prince John needs to adhere to become king, right? And it's basically just like, you can't do drugs, you can't partake in women, you can't do all the fun stuff in life that we love to do. And Flynn Rider throughout the whole movie is like, I kind of respect this King's Book philosophy. I kind of respect that you need to set some ground rules. But honestly, man, they're choking you. They're choking you. So let's find a common ground here. Let's rewrite the King's Book in a way. Like, I'm a reasonable guy. I don't want to throw away the King's Book completely because I respect that you're royalty, bro. But let's rewrite the King's Book. Let's show those kings that we can do these things. We can have fun. We can live our lives. And we can also be damn good leaders. And I'll teach you how because I've learned from experience. Because I already went on this great adventure because this movie is going to be taking place in a post-Tangled setting.
I get what you're going for there, and I think it could be a very good movie. But for a buddy road trip movie, it's the contrast between the characters that makes it work so well. You look at the best example of one of these, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and you essentially are building up your movie around John Candy from the end of the movie and John Candy from the beginning of the movie being the two characters. Whereas my movie, you got Steve Martin in the role of Mr. Incredible, not actually playing him, but you got Mr. Incredible filling the same role as the more straight man who learns to lighten up by the person he initially found annoying and then realizing that, well, this person I found annoying has a humanity to him too. There's a reason he is the way he is. And then you have Cusco filling the John Candy role of someone who's just this lovable, goofball, screw-up, immature, learning that maybe I don't have to put on this face and I can let people see that I'm human too, and kind of just let myself be a person instead of having to be a YouTube gamer at all times, which is what I feel like Cusco would be trying to be.
On the YouTube,
all coupled with a plot of trying to run from supervillains and stay in hiding.
I think that having Cusco, like, I think you're missing the point of the question. Like, that's the thing. I'm actually integrating these two into a setting that, to me at least, makes sense, because you can have a Midnight Cowboy style art film where they're a part of a giant Renaissance fair and they're riding around in a hippie van for some reason, and it can make sense in its own way. It can make sense in the confines of its own cinematic universe, just like Jesus Christ Superstar makes sense that a van full of hippies rolls up into the middle of Jerusalem and starts putting on this performance in that movie. I mean, it's just like, it's the melding of genres to me. Like that to me is like way more fascinating than just like, hey, let's I don't know. It's like Cusco. I feel like if you were to do this movie, I just feel like Cusco he's a character that I don't know. I feel like putting him, like, just having him do all these modern references. Like, yeah, he's a fun character. He's a quick-witted character. I don't necessarily think he fits well in a modern setting, though. That's my problem with your movie. Your movie, you're kind of like uplifting this character who's literally can't, like, how does Cusco function? Like, is he just not an emperor anymore?
Well, if we're going to be going into more of the details like that, then yeah, in my version of it, he's not an emperor. He is someone who is like a trust fund baby who puts all his money into being internet famous. And one of his videos gets some supervillain angry at him, and Mr. Incredible basically has to take him across country on the run in a witness protection type thing. So you have this person who wants all eyes on him, world revolves around me, I'm the king emperor, is how he sees himself, having to deal with being in complete hiding with his only friend being a 40-year-old man who in no way cares about what he's trying to do on the internet. Not like the episodes of Parks and Rec, which focused on Ron, and I am forgetting his name, but the Indian guy. It's been too long since I've seen this show.
And he was like my
But the episode's focused on them and him trying to detach from technology.
I don't know, man. I just feel like your road trip movie just feels very like, yeah, it's I don't know, like, to me there's not really a huge difference between Mr. Incredible and Cusco, if I'm being honest with you. They're both kind of like, yeah, Mr. Incredible is a little bit more responsible than Cusco, but at the end of the day, they're both kind of man children in their own regard. You know, they both kind of crave the thrill of adventure, and Cusco is almost a little bit more of a, you know, Cusco is more of a child than he is. But I don't know. I just like looking at it, just looking at these two images back to back. I just think that the dichotomy between the authority figure and the thief, and also just kind of like the jock and the loser at the same point, and the loser being the authority figure and the jock being kind of the hero, handsome guy who we're actually supposed to like. And like I said, I am doing a lot of work to make this work in a live action setting and still have it be really imaginative, but really unlike any Best Picture. Like, if the goal is to win Best Picture, I feel like the idea is not just to recycle Green Book. The idea is to expand upon Green Book. And the best way to expand upon Green Book is to get a premise that's worthy of Disney. And I feel like that premise is the giant medieval fair road trip that's just very, very, it's almost like a magical mystery tour type setting. It's like anything can happen. It's like going into Wonderland, and there's craziness. You can have an acid sequence with Tamatoa, for God's sakes.
Okay. Think that about those.
I have one question, Tiki, though. How can it be post?
Yes.
How can it be post Tangled, but also be in the 70s at the same time?
Because drugs.
Wait,
Okay,
I don't care what you're on, Tiki. It doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, I'm
not...
just when I see.
I'm just kidding, by the way.
When I see this section of the debate, I just think drugs. That's all I think.
Sandy, you start us off. Sandy, what's your vote? Which stone are you casting at whose head?
Boy, I can think of funny scenarios for both of these ideas here. I'm really having a hard time envisioning what these would look like, because we mentioned that, you know, the Prince John and Flynn Rider idea is taking place in the 70s, and the Mr. Incredible and Cusco thing.
Medieval fairs were big in the 70s.
All right. The Cusco is it's a trust fund baby playing with fidget spinners, and I'm having a very hard time envisioning what all this would look like. I really, if there was more, I'm just going to go with the idea that I think probably has more potential, which I think would be, as Tiki called it, the King book.
King's book.
King's book. I just think there was a little bit more substance to the actual idea, to the story of what it would be about. I really wanted to see more of the Cusco and Incredible idea, because I really like that pairing. I think that could be really, really funny. I just didn't have enough to work with when it came to visuals and story and things of that sort.
All right, Jacob.
Based on the strength of arguments, I mean, if you were to go to strength on arguments, it probably wouldn't be good to go with either of them, but for the strength of argument on its own, I definitely have to go with Tiki. He's the one who actually for the most part, thought the idea through.
All right. I guess that brings it to me, and I'd like to take a moment to read some comments before I reveal my thing.
Okay.
There's a tapestry of interesting comments here.
There's one that says drugs, Tiki.
You have a lot of prolific drug. I think you've started a movement here, because Pixie Grump has quote unquote because drugs, Tiki 29. So that Martin echoes statements, drugs, Tiki. I think this is kind of the more streamlined, more kind of bumper sticker worthy version of that. But anyway, so. I mean, I find myself agreeing a little bit with Pixie Grump here. Pixie Grump basically has kind of distilled it down to basically, as both of you were kind of fighting it out, Tiki, you is a wrong, but also, Pi, you is a wrong. I don't mean that in an insulting way, Pixie. I'm just reading it as it lies. And then
No, she was saying Pixie Grump was saying Pi is a less wrong.
Well, I was getting to that. So then he said Pi is a less wrong, and that's, I think, as he was continuing to go through his thing. I got to tell you, I find myself, basically that's how I'm feeling, because I feel you both kind of started off, I think you started off solid and strong. I think you both were very confident, but I think we kind of ventured into crazy town, particularly on Tiki's side of things. And I mean, look, I got to give Tiki. I'm not going to say Tiki is wrong because it's crazy. I'm not going to say that. I am going to say that. Here's the thing: I think you both had a pitch that could have won. However, here's the thing: Pi, I loved your idea, and I love just the straightforwardness of it all and all that sort of stuff. And again, the contrasting person. I think you were really laying out a great argument. However, the thing you kept doing constantly kept making me kind of doubt you is the whole you kept messing with the period setting, because you say you want to set it in The Incredibles, yet you want fidget spinners and all these YouTube gaming and all that stuff, because that flies in the face.
At least I was solid with my 70s thing.
Still, I mean, you have the whole Tangled in the 70s. Really, come on, Tangled in the 70s. You really want to argue?
If we're going live, all right. I don't want to turn this into another debate. I have more points I could make with this idea.
All right. My point being, I just, it doesn't count for much because I'm outvoted here. My vote goes to Pi, which means Tiki still wins by de facto vote. So Tiki's got 2 points.
When I first started pitching that, in my own head, I had this flash of oh, there's no way I'm winning with the stuff that's coming out of my mouth right now.
Yes, I think Tiki. It sounds like Tiki might have had one too many when he's making his pitch. Just want to also. Okay, let me read a few comments before we move on to some fun comments.
Yeah, please. I want to hear the comments. Yes.
Okay, so Donovan, I believe at the start, while you're getting into the opening statement, this is very heated. Give in to the hate, and there are 4 devil emojis. Someone by the name of SandyClaws says, I think Tiki is one of those kooky. Is on one of those. It's on those kooky 70s stuffs, the colorful ones. Fortnite Anywhere equals Get Out. Now, I don't know if that's just kind of a little reference to Jordan Peele's film, but it could just be Get Out, Fortnite, Get Out. But the other reason I kind of sided with I think I sided with Pi is what Pixie Grum said here is that Flynn Rider is a huge dork. He's not a playboy. Basically, Pi made an excellent point. It's also going to cinch it for me. Let me see if there's anything really good here. I want to get into some other pairings. Okay, so Pixie Grum suggested Cusco and Milo Thatch. Maybe that's an interesting pairing.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah.
There was a really good one earlier on. I believe it's Elsa and Maleficent from Donovan Martin. I believe that's what
that would have been good.
Twilight Zone suggested Chicken Little and one or both of the Zootopia protagonists, means Judy Hop or Nick Wilde or both, I guess, which I'm not sure if they would have flown, but one of the two.
All right.
Okay. So again, there's a lot of unanimous on Tiki on drugs, but let's just move on from that. So let's get to
a movie set in the 70s that happens to involve drugs doesn't mean I'm on drugs.
You were yelling for most of the time. You were yelling for most of the time, and it definitely raised some questionable ideas.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not cast. Yeah, I already cast my stone the other direction, Pally. I'm not. Okay. Moving on, round 3.
Oh boy.
Round number 3, inspired by Marvel's recent release. I think we need the visual before we get there. But
oh, okay. Hold on.
Okay, inspired by Captain Marvel's recent release, which is set in the 90s, and of course we can have our Best Picture category, and the fact that Disney historically was nominated for Best Picture in the 90s. We figured, what is the best 90s Walt Disney animated film? Now, the caveat is that we're sticking with Walt Disney animated film, which means in the 90s. So that's two things to be specific about here. As you'll probably notice visually, there is no Little Mermaid because that was '89. We're being very bureaucratic with this here. So it has to have a 9 in front of it, folks. Not the other way around. I'm sorry to break it. It's firmly in the 90s. And before anyone asks, no, we wanted to make it. We didn't want to go for the easy picks. So again, we stuck with Walt Disney, which means. No Goofy movie, no Nightmare Before Christmas, and no Toy Story.
No Pixar.
Basically, yeah. So, yes. And of course, we're doing this one a little bit differently, folks. This is kind of one of those surprises I promised you here. So, again, out of the lineup of the Disney films of the 90s, we're going to kind of list them out. Like the Academy Awards, we're kind of going for it's a random chance. A lot of times the Oscars, they kind of don't go for what should win. They go for just they put into a randomizer, some with some eyes. So we're going to put all the 90s films in a randomizer here. We're gonna dole on that. We're going to start with Pi. We're gonna hit the randomizer. Whatever comes up top, he gets.
Oh boy.
We're going to do it again, and whatever Tiki gets, he gets.
Wait. It's not going to be number 1 is Pi, number 2 is me. We're going to
Would you like to do it that way, or would you like to do it twice? I'd like to do it twice, but if you're the one...
We can do it twice. I'm okay with doing it twice.
I'd do it twice for complete randomization.
All right. All right, let's do it. Pi, what is going to be your fate? Oh, boy. Beauty and the Beast. Okay. Oh, God.
Oh, right. Sweet. The easy one.
All right.
There is a no whammy on this list, by the way, folks, and we're going to see if Tiki gets it. There's a whammy on this list. It's like the Zone car from what am I thinking of?
Okay.
Okay, Tiki's get the line.
All right.
Oh, it's Let's Make a Deal. That's the one I'm thinking of. Let's Make a Deal. Anyway, getting back to Hi, opening statement.
Beauty and the Beast is one of those rare movies that manages to be both the princess's love story, the dramatic action movie at the same time. It manages to balance so many different tones so beautifully with such heart-stirring music, wonderful visuals, and incredible acting and voice acting, and I mean, it's just iconic for a reason. It's incredible and does something so few other movies are able to do. You look at every movie on this list, no other movie is able to blend tones and genres as well as Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, Tiki.
The Lion King was a complete game changer within a game-changing era of Disney. I mean, it blew everything out of the water. For a long time, it was the highest-grossing animated film of all time. It was just a complete epic masterstroke of a film. And I'm not gonna let this influence my bias when it comes to laying out the facts here about Wonder and Beauty and the Beast. But it holds a special place in my heart because it is the very first movie that I saw in the movie theater. And yeah, I mean, it's epic. It's just a harrowing journey. It's got amazing songs, amazing music. I feel like it's the absolute pinnacle, the absolute height of the 2D cell animation. Like, it's the peak. It doesn't get better than that. It really doesn't. Scar is just a freaking fantastic, amazing villain from start to finish. Mufasa is just an iconic villain. Or, I'm sorry, no, not villain. Scratch that.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
sorry.
see that cut.
Oh boy.
Mufasa is an iconic part of the film. He's an iconic hero. Simba goes on an amazing transformation. Timon and Pumbaa are some of the most plot relevant and likable comic relief characters that Disney's ever done. Did I mention how fantastic the soundtrack is from song to song? There's not a bad one in the bunch. Yeah. Well,
I know. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Go on, please.
I mean, that's basically all I got. It's just a tour de force. It's got the best villain. It's got the best animation. It's got the best music. It's got the best cinematography. Hans Zimmer did the score, for God's sake. It's amazing. It's a masterstroke.
Okay. All right, guys. Fight on Pride Rock, but also kind of on the outside terrace where he might stab a guy, then he's going to be resurrected by magical love light and by roses and stuff. Just fight it out, guys. Just mix it up.
And Mufasa's the villain.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Just let's add a twist in there. You know, they're going to do it in the live action one anyway, so we might as well. Just going to be, we're going to reveal Scar's actually, Mufasa actually killed his brother and faked his death.
We're going to
Scars. Here's the thing, he's wearing scars. Remember in Hercules, they're building the cinematic universe in live action because we have the skin of Scar in Hercules and Easter egg. We're going to do that in live action. We do that Hercules movie down the line. And secretly, Mufasa skinned his brother to wear his skin and fake out his son so he can kind of inspire him to take over so he can take it back. It's a really convoluted, stupid plan. Anyway.
I got dark. Fast.
Wow.
Anyway.
Oh, boy.
I don't think I'm making
anyways.
A dragon, are we sure Tiggy's the only one on drugs?
Wow.
Nothing to say.
Lion King is a great movie in many ways, and like you said, it can be a game changer in many ways. But Beauty and the Beast is the culmination of the entire Walt Disney legacy up to that point in the motion pictures. It is arguably, which is what I'm doing here, arguing it, the best of the princess and fantasy movies Disney has ever done to this day. It's the culmination of things that came before, like Sleeping Beauty, with the blending of the genres of the more action and dark imagery with the more romantic and peaceful imagery. And not only that, Beauty and the Beast is also very unique in that it almost all takes place in two locations, almost like a Marvel episode. Its strength comes so much from the incredible writing, the songs, the characters, the acting. There's very little action, there's very little heavy plot to it. It's all riding on how good these characters are. And yet you tell that to someone and they don't realize that it's basically the movie equivalent of a sitcom Marvel episode, and yet it still feels so grand and so epic and so full of life. And you talk about fun side characters, yeah, Timon and Pumbaa are pretty great comic relief, but can you ever argue against Lumiere, Cogsworth, and Mrs. Potts as the trio of side characters being the most plot relevant, character relevant, well developed, and having the best songs?
Ooh. That's a real stab, Tiki.
I know, it is.
Iki's finding his footing after that.
Also, the Super Nintendo for Beauty and the Beast, the Super Nintendo game is a lot better than the one for Lion King.
Okay,
If that helps.
that should not count for anything. Judges, all right. Anyway,
Well, we'll see. We'll work it into the final deliberation to see where it lies. But anyway,
I just feel like, okay, you make the point that it's the best princess film, and I can agree to that. I can totally get on board with that. Here's the thing, though. Disney has a legacy of some of their best and most iconic work is not the princess movies. It's stuff like Fantasia. It's bold movies that take risks. And I feel like The Lion King is so popular and so successful specifically because it's the biggest one of those movies to take a risk. It is the one that really everyone got behind, and it's like, hey, we might have gotten Beauty and the Beast, which was a good retelling. We might have gotten, Aladdin, which had some princess elements in it, but was still a nice adventure movie. Now, what's this Lion King movie? I mean, it's just Lion King was unlike any other animated movie ever up to that point because it was so majestic and ambitious. And frankly, Pi, you make a point about the sitcom quality of Beauty and the Beast, and frankly, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's honestly one of the reasons why I am not so fond of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is kind of a claustrophobic movie. It doesn't have a lot of locations. When I watch an animated movie, I want to see a ton of locations, and to me, there's something much more appealing about seeing the grand savannas and all the epic colors and just all the things that you can do with the Lion King. Just the hordes of animals, the wildebeest stampede, the elephant graveyard, Timon and Pumbaa's oasis. I mean, just all the iconic design of the Pride Rock. It just all weaves together. It's like a tapestry of a location. And frankly, I just don't think you get that. The Beast Castle is a cool location. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason why Be Our Guest reservations are so hard to come by. But I just feel like for a film, The Lion King is so much infinitely more rewatchable for me because when I watch The Lion King, I feel like I am going on an epic, sweeping adventure, man. I'm just swept up on it. I mean, look at that opening sequence. The opening sequence with Beauty and the Beast is great. It's got the stained glass. It's got the good music. It's got the narration that sets everything up. Fine opening sequence. Good job. Really good. I genuinely mean that. The opening sequence for The Lion King blows that out of the water because it's just like, hey, look what we got. It's Disney being cocky. That opening sequence was so good that they used it as the first teaser trailer because they knew that teaser, that sequence, the way that sequence opens that movie could sell the movie in its own regard. I mean, just Circle of Life alone to me is more iconic than anything in Beauty and the Beast, frankly.
I'll give you this. Circle of Life is probably the best opening to a Disney movie. And the visuals are probably better in Lion King. But just because of that and the more grand scale doesn't make it a better movie. At the end of the day, Beauty and the Beast has the stronger characters and the better writing, I feel, and the better voice acting. I mean, Jeremy Irons is fantastic, but there's no weak point in Beauty and the Beast, whereas with The Lion King, you base the main character around Matthew Broderick.
Okay, to be fair, Matthew Broderick's only in about half the movie, and young Simba is Jonathan Taylor-Thomas, and I feel like Jonathan Taylor-Thomas actually is kind of an iconic performance, because he was a huge child star at the time, and what he did for the Kid Simba character, I feel like really made Kid Simba sort of like a really relatable, really likable antagonist, at least. I am so.
Mufasa's family line will rain blood down in Africa.
Mufasa's planning.
I know.
Gotta read some comments now.
Mufasa's the villain and Simba's an antagonist.
See, it's not so crazy, right?
It's Maleficent all over again.
All right, you guys get what I'm trying to say, though. I feel like Jonathan Taylor-Thomas really, like, he's not the greatest actor in the world, but I feel like his just overall general charisma, and he was what the kids were into back then. He fit that role really well. Yeah, Broderick Simba is probably the weakest voice acting in either of the two movies. I'll give you that much. Matthew Broderick Simba ain't much to write home about. But by the the same point, you have James Rowan Atkinson, you have Nathan Lane. I mean, all these characters, all these actors just brought their all to the role. And you have really classy African actors who play like adult Nala and Rafiki, and I for the life of me can't remember their names. But I digress. I'm sure they're great people. I'm sure they're very talented. Anyways, my point is, I feel like when I sit down to watch a movie, I don't just want to watch a princess like dawdling around in a castle for an hour and a half. I want to see a movie where it's just sweeping savannas and a huge story and just characters that go huge change, and it literally encompasses an entire life of that character. And that to me is just so much more sweeping than anything that Beauty and the Beast does.
I don't know, the Beast character arc, while short, is one of the stronger ones we've seen, and does so quickly too, with not needing to take it over an entire lifetime in Citizen Kane. They're able to have his entire arc realistically done in just that small time frame. It's a small character-driven movie, whereas Lion King has time jumps so they can skip over the characters changing and just skip to the point where the change happens, or where it's already mostly happened, but just one catalyst event. Beauty and the Beast shows the characters change, and shows the ones that don't, what happens to them when they change for the worse, or when they just don't change. And
All right, Jacob.
Who's going first?
You.
Oh, sorry. I have to say, this is definitely quite an interesting round. Well, you both brought your definite A game to this one. Both had pretty much even footing throughout the entire match and raised good points about either one.
Yeah.
this was a close one.
I mean, I don't know. This is a tough one for me.
Well, you could put it up to the audience. You could see what the audience is like, and if you have trouble deciding your vote.
Do you mind if I go in the meantime?
Okay.
Is that all right, Jacob?
Yep, go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I really loved this round because these speedrun type things always get me. But you guys, like Jacob said, you guys really brought your A game to it. And I all had even footing through the entire thing. I was really impressed on some of the things you guys had to say, going back at each other. Lion King definitely is really grand in scope. Pi really got me at the end with the time jumps bit of how in Beauty and the Beast, especially since it all takes place in the castle and Lion King does not. They really are quite different, and I like how you guys touched on the locations and things like that.
Now, Beauty and the Beast actually seems a bit more focused. You kind of did mention that.
Yeah, and the time jumps too, where Pi made a good point of it. Kind of Lion King just kind of skips over the characters actually changing and just goes to them, once they are changed. I think that's proven quite well when the Timon and Pumbaa song we all have. What's it called?
Hakuna Matata.
Yes, of course. Hakuna Matata. Yes.
Blasphemy.
And
Even in Toy Story.
Are we sure that Sandy's not on drugs because he can't remember that?
Let's just say,
Where's Jeff Pickles when you need him?
I'm just trying to focus here.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, that's all right. But yes, I mean, Beauty and the Beast, I feel, like I said, I think it is a really strong, quite possibly, maybe just a little bit stronger than Lion King, just because it focuses in on these two characters and the progression the Beast especially has throughout the course of the movie, and how granted it does take place all in one location through the entire movie, but that raises a challenge where it doesn't have just this plethora of different different locations you can just completely exploit as much as you want. It has one location where you have to make do with what you have and make the absolute most of it, which it does. And that point was driven home quite well. And I think I'm going to have to go with Pies for this one.
Okay, Jacob, do you know what you're voting yet, or do you need more time?
After some deliberation, I will cast my vote. And
Okay.
I pretty much had to agree with a lot of the stuff Sandy said. I mean, and admittedly, a lot of the reason as to why I was deciding, having trouble deciding, was because of my own personal biases. But putting my personal biases aside, I would definitely have to say, at least in this round, Pi made the stronger case.
Okay, that's 2 for Pi. And you know what? Believe me, I want to walk you guys through this. This was a Pong round for me, okay? Because I kept going back and forth like the game, man. Because I was in Pi's corner, but then sorry, let me rephrase that. Okay. All right, so it was in Tiki's corner at the start. I think Tiki had me at the start, but then Pi made that initial blow to Tiki, and I was like, okay, I'm in Pi's corner now. And of course, it just kind of Tiki found himself. Tiki just got right back up again. He didn't go down. He didn't get knocked out or anything. He just got right back up, and then he really hit. Basically, I think Tiki was getting more detailed, but then I think he tripped himself up, which didn't help him. And basically, in that time, I think Pi then came back with what I was looking for the whole round from him, to get more specific, and he kind of brought up the Beast as arc, and then the supporting characters and all that sort of stuff. So basically, Pi did what I was hoping he was going to do in the round, and I think he kind of balanced that a little bit better than Tiki did. So all that said, I'm going to go with Pi, which rounds out. That's 3. It's 3 votes for Pi, which means Pi gets the point, which means he's on the board. It's Tiki with 2 points, Pi with 1. Let's read some comments before we fire right into this, before we get to the coin. Real quick, we got a lot of funny comments here.
I love these comments.
Would you like to read them, Sandy?
Oh, sure. Let's see. Pixie Grump says, also Tiki is saying that all of these are retellings. Lion King is literally Hamlet with lions.
Twilight Zone earlier said Lion King is a ripoff of Kimba. I'm pretty sure he was joking.
Yeah,
no, she's not joking. It is.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the whole legal disputable. I mean, it's I know what it's in reference. It's cool.
Hans Zimmer is a legend. It's without a doubt. Mufasa villain. What? That's what Donovan says.
And now Simba's the antagonist. Like I said, it's Maleficent all over again.
Donovan has a bit of a Jason Momoa response. Jeremy Irons, my man.
I can dig it.
Oh, we have more snake stuff in the Aladdin thing, Tiki. You know what? Since Aladdin is on the list, Snake Jafar. Basically, in reference to all the contenders here. And I will literally, Pixie Grump says, I will literally fight anyone who tries to tell me that Alan Menken is not the better composer here, which Alan Menken is a darn fine composer, as well as Hans Zimmer. They both wrote that. And Alan Menken for the win.
I'd love to see them team up together.
That'd be neat. That'd be really neat. Okay, let's see if there's anything major here. Unless, I'm sorry, Sam, any others really catch your eye?
Well, this other one that I agreed with, Beauty and the Beast is superior because the characters change in the present moment rather than time jumping, which we talked about before, but it's a very, very good point that Pi brought up.
All right, so let's go to the coin. Gentlemen, Pi.
He's been messing with the coin for like the past 5 minutes.
Which again, this is kind of evil when you really think about it, but Pi, given his messing with your fate and with your fortune, and unless you've been really paying attention each time he's been pushing that button, do you want to use the Academy coin, the coin of academia, if you will, of cinematic academia?
Or the coin
I got a gambling addiction, so I'm gonna go flipping the coin.
Man with a
calling
voice,
it Tails. Tails, like my favorite Sonic character.
Which means he loses a point, which means he's got nothing.
He wants to lose a point.
Yep.
Well, you got it.
Rat.
You got it. You got it, Pi.
I think I'm
I think I'm gonna pass on flipping the coin.
All right, Tiki's got 2 points on the board, and all the hard work that Pi just did is now worth naught. So,
come on, Pi. I was in your corner, man.
Wait,
literally, this is just funny. So it's so funny. Round 1, Tiki gets all the points, and then round 3, Pi gets all the points, and it just blew up in Pi's face.
Flip though. He was messing with the... Tiki should flip though. He was messing with the coin.
That would be justice, but unfortunately, it's not a just world, my friend.
I was messing with the coin because I wanted to give it visual flair, all right?
Yeah, sure. Tiki, tell yourself that.
It's gonna be quiz show all over again. I know it.
All right, so just as a reminder, folks, we're playing to 5 points. So the first person to get to 5 points wins.
Yes. All right. Of course, we do 30 seconds followed by a 15-second rebuttal. That's how that works. Okay. So, you guys ready?
yeah.
Good.
Okay. Inspired by the recent edition of the Just Giggle It Grab Bag, when we're kind of starting the season of Sitka, we have this question: which Disney character would make the best Miss America? Whoever speaks first has to go first.
Elsa.
Okay, Tiki's got Elsa.
Ariel.
All right, and I's got Ariel. Okay. Remember, guys, Miss America. That's what I want you to sell here. Okay, which one deserves, nay, demands and deserves to be Miss America? All that stuff. Okay.
Well,
Maybe Dragon deserves to be Miss America.
Okay, so America is all about immigration, right? And so why not have a lady from Arendelle immigrate here and become Miss America in her own right? It'd be game changing. It'd break new ground. And not as someone who's kind of, she has a struggle. She has a relatable story. She'd be unlike other Miss America. She'd be a Miss America that you could really root and get behind because she's someone who's conquered her own demons and come up on the other side. And plus, she can sing really well.
While Ariel may not have had legs for as long as Elsa, she was excited about dancing. So by the time this competition comes along, she can sing, she can dance, she has passionate things and collections that she's really excited about. She's very friendly and outgoing with a charming personality, as well as being very known to be beautiful in the context of the movie. So attractive guys fall in love with her at first sight. She can seduce a man without even talking.
You see, what you just described is a very typical casual Miss America. What Elsa would bring to the table is a new kind of Miss America. A Miss America who doesn't care about getting a man. A Miss America who cares about femininity and womanhood and empowering that and embracing that pie.
Elsa might be a new type of Miss America, but you know what? She also, I feel like, isn't a very outgoing person. And while she would bring a new energy to it, you have to be outgoing and charismatic. But she is, both literally and figuratively, a bit cooled and put off.
All right. Okay, I guess. All right, Sandy, why don't you start us off?
Well, these are both pretty good arguments.
They were.
They really were. I think I'm just gonna have to go with Tiki's. He made a really good point of saying right off the bat that it's she's from a different location and it's I'm a big part of the whole Miss America tradition. She can sing well and she's beautiful and everything. I honestly, I really don't know much about what Miss America is. I think I'm just gonna have to go with Elsa. I mean, for some reason that just seems I mean, look at it this way. Elsa is beloved by Americans and children alike. I mean, she's incredibly popular. I think it's only natural that she would be Miss America.
And technically, we can't put much stock into the whole Elsa being that thing, because technically, if you go by the fairy tale origins, technically that would make Little Mermaid Dutch.
All right, look, we're playing by Epcot rules, all right? We're doing Epcot rules. It's fine.
I'm just saying so that technically that argument doesn't hold much stock. But I mean, though I did like Pi's rebuttal towards the end of Elsa being a figurative and literal cold person, not that outgoing. It just wasn't enough to save himself from Tiki's argument.
All right, so Jacob, you're voting for Tiki then.
Correct, sir.
All right. Here's the thing. Personally, if it were up to me, I'd go with Elsa, but I gotta tell you, based on the arguments, I'm going with Pi, but I'm outvoted, so that means Tiki gets the point.
Well, Dragon, tell us why. Why would you go with Pi? With Ariel?
Oh, basically Pi had these razor focused kind of cells for Ariel, where again the whole she's essentially had that bit where he said, she can seduce any man without even speaking. She has the collection, she has personality. She can sing, she can dance. A bit of a stretch with the dancing, but assumedly she's going to learn how to dance. I mean, if you have feet, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Yeah, actually, is it too late to change mind?
Okay, let's evaluate the diplomatic process here. Sandy, do you want to vote to let Jacob change his answer?
Sorry.
I'm gonna stick with my answer. I'm just gonna stick to my guns.
Okay, so I think you got voted down on that one, Jacob. I'm sorry.
All right.
All right. Okay, so well, then again, it is two of. I don't know. I don't want to muddy the waters. Let's just.
So I feel like at this point, Pi is the only person who's not exhibited drug-like behavior.
Yeah, I haven't done
Hey,
anything.
I'm just kidding, Jacob. I'm just going with the running joke.
Give it time. I have some LSD right here. The debate's gonna be fun.
Jeff Pickles. I just hope he doesn't get behind the wheel and visit us today. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so anyway.
Okay, so 3-0. 3-0.
Yes, still 3-0. It's 3-0. Real quick, I want to read off some really fun comments. Twilight Zone, Elsa in YouTube lore. Oh, that stupid thing. I'm sorry, nothing against you, Twilight Zone. It's like Elsa in YouTube lore is Spider-Man's girlfriend. That whole the stupid video series.
That confuses me. I'm not sure.
Don't look into it, Sandy. It's don't. But Donovan says Elsa, everything for her proportions to seductive eyes. Basically saying Elsa's got the looks department down. Which
here, you've got to take this into consideration. Elsa is in 3D and Ariel is in 2D, so there's obviously some advantages on Elsa's side.
Not anymore. Ariel has technically been rendered in 3D as well.
I guess you're right.
That's it. And wait a minute, where was I going with? It's you know what, the whole pairing thing. Some people also like to pair her with Wreck-It Ralph.
Okay, one last thing. Pixie Grimp had an excellent suggestion for contestant. He voted Kita. That's a great pick.
Would be a good one.
Yeah, Kita's a great character. Kita from Atlantis.
Kita from Atlantis.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here's one that relates to Disney live-action films coming up in the laundry list of live-action upcoming films. Okay, so I'm gonna give you two options here. I'm gonna list out two titles, and after you hear the second one, that's when it's gonna get a quick draw question. All right.
Okay.
Get ready. Which upcoming Disney live-action film will be better, Lilo and Stitch or Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, definitely Hunchback.
Okay, so I guess Tiki's got going first, but Lilo and Stitch.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna let this affect my opinion on this conversation, but I really can't wait for Lilo and Stitch. I think it has some enormous potential here.
All right. Okay, Tiki, when you're ready.
I mean, it's not that this isn't my argument. I'm just saying it's not like I'm biased or anything because Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite Disney movies. But all right.
At the heart of it, Lilo and Stitch is almost kind of already a live action movie because you've got just the heart of it is the sister bonding, and that's what you action movie. All the alien stuff is cool CGI that you can throw into the trailer. And don't get me wrong, you need a good Stitch, and I feel like right now with motion capture the way it is, you can get a great Stitch. And yeah, I really feel like Lilo and Stitch would be just a really, really heartfelt movie to pull off in live action. I feel like it would really work.
Like you said, Lilo and Stitch already feels live action. It has some of the most grounded, realistic performances and writing, even with all the alien stuff. So why make it live action? What does it add? What value does that add? The Hunchback, it was held back by being a cartoon and by being a kid. It was held back by the gargoyles needing to be the comic relief. If you can do this live action, dramatic, over the top, operatic, huge, Les Miserables style visuals, it can be improved with the live action, unlike most animated movies.
With live action Lilo and Stitch, you can focus more on the bond between the sisters and the human characters and flesh them out more. I think the problem with Hunchback is that Hunchback in live action wouldn't feel like a Disney movie. If you strip away the cartoon elements, if you strip away the animation, it wouldn't feel Disney at all.
The live-action Lilo and Stitch is being made for Disney Plus, which means it won't have the biggest budget, which means there's a good chance Stitch is going to wind up looking like the new Sonic or Alvin and the Chipmunks. There's a lot of risk going in with those visuals being so effects-heavy on a streaming service budget.
Okay, well, that for me is Pi instantly wins that, no question for me. But so my vote goes to Pi.
Pi.
I don't really necessarily think that was fair because I didn't even know that Lilo and Stitch was being developed for Disney Plus.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I was gonna go with Pi as soon as he mentioned that you said yourself that it already is kind of, you know, it was a live action movie.
I mean, I won't lie. That the Disney Plus was the clincher, but everything beyond that, I was still leaning towards Pi. So there
I was a Pi from pretty much the beginning.
All right, that's all good. That's all good.
And I didn't know about the Disney Plus thing either, so
neither did
okay.
I forgot.
I didn't know Hunchback was even happening.
I forgot about it, to be honest. But when he brought that up, oh yeah, it is on Disney Plus. Kind of like.
Okay, so 3-1.
Okay, Pi's on the board again. Let's see if he can keep up. All right. Okay, here's one. There's some little new thing we're testing out here. Oh, by the way, Sophia Carlson is Esmeralda, says Donovan Martin. Throwing that out there, casting for Esmeralda. I have no idea who Sophia Carson is off the top of my head. Sounds familiar, though. Anyway. Sorry. Okay, next question. It's a yay or nay question. You guys are going to be arguing in perspective. And whoever says yay or nay first, they will get that perspective, all right? Okay. Whoever you're going to have to argue the following perspective. And oddly enough, it applies to what was just said. Just by sheer coincidence. Okay, Disney Plus, a good or bad thing?
Yay. Yay, 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 yay.
Okay, Tiki's got yay and Pi's got nay. But Tiki, just out of curiosity, if you don't mind, is it, if you don't have to tell me if you don't want to, is it out of purely revenge that you picked yay, or is it did you want yay?
No, I want yay.
Okay, that's all I need to know. All right.
Very much so.
Okay, Donovan says nay, by the way, and so does Pixie Grum, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, guys.
Disney Plus is one of my most anticipated events of the whole year as a Disney fan. The vault is opening, guys. We are getting so much content all at once. Frankly, as a Disney fan, that's like a Fry, here, take my money, shut up and take my money type situation. I have dreamed of this moment. I have dreamed of a streaming service where everything at Disney is on my fingertips. And frankly, I know that collectors are going to be upset, but your collection of Blu-rays are still going to be there. But Disney...
Let's talk about streaming services. The only reason they work is that there's a limited number of them. if that market gets too saturated, it starts to fall apart. And we're already walking towards that point. There's no reason for Disney Plus to be a separate thing, especially with how much stake they own in Hulu. They should have just been building up that service, which is already really understuffed as far as quality originals compared to Netflix and Amazon Prime. Why make another service? Why make another monthly fee? It's just becoming a new version of cable, except for more expensive.
Pi, you're right. It is another version of cable, except more expensive. But hello, we're in the future. We're going to pay more money for our entertainment, but our entertainment's going to be better quality, and we're going to have way more selections. That's just the state of things, Pi. I could do a whole essay about how this medium is kind of changing.
Disney Plus is going to be a very strong service. I'm very, very excited for it. But at the end of the day, between the TV channels and all the other streaming services they're involved with, already kind of having hit or miss qualities with originals, they could have built those up and focused on them rather than branching out into a new area that's not needed.
All right, Jacob.
This is a tough one. I mean,
Remember, if you can't pick, by all means go to the comments.
yeah, all right. I mean, my personal bias would be I'm personally looking forward to it myself. I mean, they have a lot of interesting stuff coming on the way, at least stuff that would seem to be interesting. And I think Tiki raised a lot of good arguments about like how it's the future, and like, and think about it, though, if you even with all these subscription services, it'd still technically be cheaper than the cable bill. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But at the end of the day, I honestly think that I'm gonna go with yay, Tiki. I think Tiki made a better arguments here.
All right, Sandman.
But though I will concede about Pi's like vague comments about them stretching themselves too thin.
Okay.
Just out of general curiosity, this is not going to make me lean one way or the other, but does anyone know how much it's going to be?
They haven't announced it yet, but they said it'll be like definitely cheaper than Netflix.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's
And Hulu tried to compete with that, so they lowered their amount by $2. So I think I want to say the starting price will be in the neighborhood of like probably $5 or maybe $4 to $5 if they want to compete. As a guess.
I guess around 7 maybe.
I think it's eventually what it's going to be. I think if they're like stand by what they're saying, it should be that, but I don't think it's going to be that. So yeah.
Well, you guys made very, very good points. I was really kind of shocked by Pi's point there, because when you really think about it, the market is going to start stretching itself pretty thin pretty soon. But I mean, in all honesty, I think that the market is open. Disney's taking advantage of it, and they have plenty of material to work with. I mean, we all know how much material they have to work with. So I think, more power to them. I'm going to say yay.
All right, so let's see. Let's vote for Tiki for you then, Sandy.
Yes.
All right. You know what? I was kind of leaning towards yay, and the comments are kind of leaning towards yay. So I'm just gonna complete the circle on that one. So let's just say yay. So that's 3 points it's 3 votes for Tiki, which puts Tiki up at 4 points.
So this I could win it all right here.
4-1.
The next question then.
All right, Pi, it's all on the line now. You got to get basically 5 in a row.
You definitely can. I'm ready for this.
All right.
He's saving himself for now.
This next one's thanks to Jacob, so I'm going to put it all on him right now.
Okay.
Wait, what? What do you mean? Is that the question I came up with?
Well, no, you didn't come up with this, but basically you with the round cards, you inspired this one.
Okay.
Okay. Best song in The Little Mermaid.
Under the Sea.
Part of Your World.
All right, Pi's got Part of Your World.
Part of Your World is a nice ballad, but it's just a ballad. It's got great animation, but it's not as singable as Under the Sea. Under the Sea has kind of taken on a life of its own in the music industry. Go to any ska show in Southern California, I guarantee you there's like at least an 80% chance that you're going to see a cover of Under the Sea there. It's just in the ska community and a bunch of different music genres, Under the Sea is so very versatile. You can play it a million different ways, and that's why it's way better.
Ariel herself can come across as an almost shallow character, as just a rebellious teenager wanting to run away from home to be with a boy. And she would come across that way for the whole movie if it wasn't for Part of Your World. That's the core of her character. That's what transforms her into such a dynamic character. It's more than just a ballad. It means so much to the movie. It might not have as much spectacle or be covered as often. It's such emotion to it. It makes the movie what it is.
If we were going best scene, then yeah, I would agree with you. Part of the World works better in the context of the movie. But best song, I care a lot about music. I care a lot about music versatility. I care a lot about the fact that music can be carried over into different genres and different styles. And
Under the Sea may be more fun and versatile, but Part of Your World was the let it go of the late 80s and 90s. It was iconic and classic for a reason. It's amazing. It stands out above the rest of so many other similar songs.
All right, Sandy.
All right, so I have a question here for you, Dragon. Are we talking in regards to just the best song in general, or the best song which works for the movie?
Well, I mean, the phrasing is best song in The Little Mermaid, so I guess that means.
Best song in The Little Mermaid.
I mean, I guess I take that. I guess I take that as within The Little Mermaid was the best song in that movie. So that's as much specificity as I can get.
Well, I'm gonna go with Pi, because here's the thing. Under the Sea is a really great song. It's really catchy. It's obviously very, very popular. But Pi made a very, very good point of saying that, because Ariel, you take away that song and she does become a very shallow character. And he as Pi said, it's basically just a teenage girl wanting to run off with a boy. That's basically what it is. You add that song in there, and it just adds this whole entirely new dimension to this character, which this movie depends on. And you take that song away, it completely dissolves all the potential you could have for that character. And I think that I don't think it's given enough praise. Again, Tiki's choice of what's Under the Sea, very, very catchy song, but again, it's just it's kind of, I don't want to say filler, but it's more filler than A Part of Your World is.
All right, I cast my vote for Pi as well.
I guess that leaves it to me.
Okay.
And the comments.
Well, I'm not good. I don't need to rely on the comments for this one. Like Tiki, mainly your point was like the fact that it's a showstopper. It's like you really have a thing for the Broadway spectaculars, and there's nothing really wrong with that. But as Tiki and the rest of us have pointed out, it really didn't add much else to the story. Yes, it's fun and it's iconic, and it actually did win the Academy Award, which is pretty much the only other thing it has going for it. Like set up a chain of Disney, the first in a chain of Disney winning songs for winning awards for songs, which obviously is a great feat. But at the end of the day, I honestly do believe that in the context of the entire movie as a whole, Part of Your World actually fits the themes, the characters, and everything a lot more than Part of Your World does. And I mean, than Under the Sea does. While both have become technically iconic songs, Pi did raise like many very good arguments about the whole thing. And so I cast my vote towards Pi.
Okay, that puts Pi still in the game. It's 2 points versus 4 points. Let's get to the next question then. All right.
Go, just barely holding on.
Okay. Who should direct?
Hi, are you okay on time? Just checking. Hi.
Hi.
Are you okay on time?
Yeah, I'm okay on time.
Okay, I'm just checking because this is probably going to go over 2 hours. Anyway,
Which Disney attraction is biopic worthy?
Ooh.
Haunted Mansion. Okay, I'm sorry. Just to clarify, are you saying like biopic worthy as in making a movie about the making of the attraction?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, Haunted Mansion.
I'm gonna go Expedition Everest. I'm gonna go modern with it.
All right.
All right.
So, Haunted Mansion versus Expedition Everest.
Yep.
All right.
So there's so many things about the Haunted Mansion story. It's versatile in the fact that you have the Claude Coates versus Mark David, like the scary versus funny thing going on throughout the movie. They'd be kind of the two main characters. You'd have Walt Disney's death as a central focus point to the movie that kind of like is a big turning point in the plot. Of course, you'd have all the urban legends sprouting up around the Haunted Mansion. I just think it's a fascinating story.
With Expedition Everest, not only do you have Joe Road as probably the pinnacle of modern Imagineering to be the main character, but you have exotic locations of his research trips that he took to make the attraction, as well as the more interesting story of what happened after it and the struggle to try and get the Yeti fixed, being a tragic, never-ending battle, never winning. Even with the rumors of it tying into other like Marvel attractions and doing those in exchange for the Yeti and then being lied to about the Yeti being a part of the deal.
Okay, I'm sorry. I like with Expedition Everest, there's no real struggle in actually making the ride, and then once the ride's open, it's just kind of like dealing with theme park fanboys, and to me, there's no real interest with that. Yeah, it's poetically ironic.
It might be a story that, at least currently, is more well known just by like internet fanboys and things like that. But that means it's a story that not a lot of people know that could be made and dramatized as a struggle of being a creative in the corporate field in modern day Disney and the company built on creativity.
Okay.
All right. Sandy.
Pi, with yours, it seems like with Expedition Everest, I just don't think Expedition Everest is popular enough to get a wide appeal from an audience. I mean, I feel who's an Imagineer who made it?
Joe Road.
Joe's. Yeah, I feel it'd have to tie in more with him and his life, or with just the life of an Imagineer in general. I just don't think that Expedition Everest struggled enough to warrant a full biopic about it. Whereas Haunted Mansion, I think, definitely does and has proven itself many times that it deserves something along the lines of like a biopic, just because of course with Walt Disney's death and just all the problems they had and problems they had before and after. Of course, the time period, it lent itself to a lot more interesting of locations and just overall aesthetic. And I think it just lends itself very, very well to a biopic type nature.
All right, so that's a vote for Tiki then, right, Sandy?
It's a vote for Buzz Lightyear. Yes, it's a vote for Tiki.
Right.
Was the Buzz Lightyear?
Right.
That's true. All
All
right.
right, Jacob.
It's pretty. I mean, this is definitely kind of a ping pong thing. I mean, obviously the Haunted Mansion is more well known, and and technically a lot of this, pretty much everybody knows the story behind that one already. I mean, pretty much everyone knows how that works. Like,
Well, I mean, it depends. Define everyone, because I'm sure most movie-going audiences probably don't know the story behind it. I mean, we fanboys know, and Disney fans know, but like my mom doesn't know, and she'd go see the movie. It's for biopics. She loves biopics. I'm just saying. Define everyone.
I'm saying more people are. I mean, even people who aren't massive fanboys still probably know about some of the making of Haunted Mansion. I mean, it's real. I mean, it's pretty much ingrained in pop culture. So ingrained in pop culture.
Yeah, to an extent.
I mean, at Expedition Everest, I have to say I never actually rode that, so I can't really say anything about it. I mean, I did go to the Animal Kingdom, but that's not one thing I got to do. I mean, wait, that is there, right? Where is Expedition Everest?
Yeah, it's Animal Kingdom.
Oh, that's what I thought. That's what I figured. I mean, both make very interesting, compelling arguments. I mean, the struggle of though I had to say, I guess with Tiki, the whole struggle of three people versus just that one person, I guess, and I think it would actually be a bit more compelling. I'm gonna cast it for Haunted Mansion as well.
All right, I'm gonna make it an uneven set here. I'm gonna cast a vote for Tiki, which means Tiki wins.
Well done, well done.
Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't know I was muted. Woo!
Yep, Tiki's on drugs.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to highlight a few other choices that the viewing audience had. They kind of threw out what their pick would have been for this question. Pixie Grump suggested Small World.
That would have been a good one because that was like a last minute addition to the World's Fair, and it was done for charity, and it was kind of done on the cheap.
That explains a lot, actually.
We got Donovan Martin. He throws out their Space Mountain.
Yeah, Space Mountain's interesting because it dates back to Walt, but the concept that was ultimately done in the parks was way different from what Walt was envisioning. It went through a lot of different interpretations.
I mean, I want to kind of see like an expanded Defunct Land on that one.
Yeah.
Especially, I was very fascinated by the one in the Euro Disney.
Honestly, I think Twilight Zone.
I almost picked that because of the Defunct Land.
Honestly, I think Twilight Zone has the best of the bunch here, in my opinion. One I would have loved to see. Alien Encounter is said to be perfect.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. That's legendary.
Plus, now that story has an ending, which make it really interesting. Yeah. Also, Donovan says he agrees. I think it was more in reference to kind of if Haunted Mansion got a shot cinematically versus a biopic, but he says, I agree, Haunted Mansion should have had a second shot of redemption for getting that Eddie Murphy atrocity. So,
honestly, I want a biopic more than a Haunted Mansion movie.
Okay.
That's just me.
We still need the Guillermo del Toro Haunted Mansion.
We need everything Del Toro, man. All right, so yeah, guys, I think you really I thought it was a good fight tonight, guys. What do you, Jacob, Sandy? How would you evaluate these two lads' performance tonight?
Very, very, very strong.
Yeah,
and I want to see more.
Both brought your A games.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Reagan, take us out.
All right, so again, many thanks to live viewers tonight. Just give them like kind of a final shout out here. Donovan Martin, Pixie Grump, Twilight Zone. And of course, a few knuckleheads that are here with us, kind of moderating the chat as well. But but seriously, folks, it's been fun. But the awards, much like this round Disney debates, it went a little over time. But I think we had fun. I think we made some self discoveries. You know what makes us excited for the next installment of Disney debates, which I'll give you a little tease, is going to involve Marvel.
Oh boy.
So.
Oh.
Believe me, folks, next month's going to be a big one. We're going to definitely reflect that in our next installment of Disney Debates. Take care. See ya. Bye-bye then.